Are you curious about dreams? Do you believe that dreams are based in reality? Or do you believe that dreams are just a way for our mind to sort out stress? Have you ever really wondered about the different types of dreams that you've had, and why does it keep showing up over and over and over again? Some similar things, like especially recently for me, having to do with water. And and have you been curious about how do you interpret dreams? How do dream interpreters interpret dreams? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. My name is Nancy Rebecca. I'm a retired registered nurse. I have been working as a full-time psychic healer and spiritual guide and spiritual teacher for almost 30 years now. And it's often people really want to know what their dreams are about. And I wasn't very interested in my dreams because I didn't dream. I was, in all these years, it's like lights out. And then when I would wake up to the alarm, lights on. Are you like that? Where it's lights out, you don't know what happens at night, you can't see anything, you can't sense anything, and then you wake up during the day and you just start your day again? Or have you awakened in the morning to find that your face is wet with tears, and yet you have no recollection of anything that felt sad or was grief filled? And so this is kind of what we're going to talk about today, because in the last month, for me being a non-dreamer, my dream world has come so alive that I can't wait to go to sleep, to have this full, what feels like to me an all-night experience where I'm literally waking up at certain periods during the night, and then when I go back to sleep, I'm really jumping right back into the story. So I have this certain appreciation for people who are dreamers. I happen to have two adult kids, 40 and 44. They have always been dreamers, but they are also water signs. My daughter's a Pisces and my son is a Cancer. And so with all that addition of water and being an empath and being emotional, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. So go ahead and pop in the comment section. Maybe you're a water sign and you never dream, or maybe you say, hey, yeah, that makes sense to me. I dream a lot. But I'm going to break down the differences in dreams, because even though I didn't know much about the dream world, and I was kind of bummed, I asked Spirit, how come I never have dreams? And Spirit said, because Nancy, you're so visual and you can see in all the dimensions during the day, you really need a rest from the dream world. And I will say that my dreams in the past month, it's like I'm having an awareness of my body laying in the bed at the same time I'm dreaming, almost as if I'm watching the dream on television, but it's like I'm in the dream feeling myself back in my body. So if there's some really interesting things that are happening in this multidimensional world that we're expanding to, but there's some really interesting things happening in the dream world. So I had Kathy, who works as part of our Intuitive Mind team. She wrote me this morning and said, whoa, because I asked her, do you dream? And she said, never. And she woke up with a powerful dream this morning. And I thought, all right, I need to make a little talk about this. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to talk about the dream world. I'm going to talk about the astral world. Is the dream world and the astral world the same? And is the dream world and the astral world the same as multi-dimensional worlds? So I'm going to try to pull all those questions together. So let's delve into them, explore. They're often understood within metaphysical, spiritual, and esoteric frameworks. So in the dream world is generally understood as the realm we enter during sleep, where consciousness detaches from your physical reality and you explore different states of awareness. So let me just pause right here. you have an energy field, you have chakras, energy centers, you have a human body, but you also have an additional energy field. It's called the astral field, or it's called the astral body. Your astral body can fly. Your physical body cannot fly. Your astral body can move through leap tall buildings, move through doors, move through walls. Your physical body cannot do that. Your astral body can go to different dream states, can go to different realities, can go to different dimensions. Your physical body cannot do that. So why does your spirit leave your body at night? So it literally floats up out of your body and then takes right off to those higher dimensions, because your astral field does much better in those higher frequencies, doesn't do so well in this human frequency. Well, let's face it, right now we don't we don't seem to be doing that well in our physical frequency. And so this is why I'm really kind of calling this beyond the veil, beyond the veil of dreams. And so we're going to explore this a little bit more. But it's like Spirit always explained to me, my spirit. When I say spirit, I've got a team of guides that go along with my higher self. And so they were saying, your astral body goes into the dream world, or carries your consciousness to the dream world, because it needs a break from the heaviness, the burdens of the emotions every day. It just needs to take a break. All right. So dreams can often feel surreal and very vivid, allowing you to experience events, places, emotions that go beyond the waking limitations. So there are what are called, some dreams are connected to the subconscious, and many believe that the dream world is a reflection of the subconscious mind. So there's going to be a lot of, even in therapy and Jungian psychology, where they believe every part of the dream is you. So if I was sitting in a chair, smoking a cigar, sipping on a glass of wine, there's this concept that the chair is part of you, the cigar is part of you, the wine's part of you. If there's a fire that seems to be going out and there's just embers of coals, that's going to be a part of you. So for those who are expert in Jungian psychology at reflecting on dreams, often, I'm not an expert on Jungian psychology, but often they're going to look at what is your subconscious trying to tell you. Now, I always think of the subconscious as kind of like what's down in the basement. You never go down in the basement. All the Christmas decorations are in boxes, but maybe an event that you had that was hurtful, you've boxed it up and you put it in the basement. So it needs to come up and out in the dream world. So this is true. It can help you to heal. But I also have what I call garbage dreams. So let's say that you ate a whole pizza and then you had a half gallon of ice cream and you had a beer, smoked a few cigarettes, like like you just had this heck of a good evening watching Netflix, streaming Netflix. Well, it's going to be so overwhelming and overloading to your body that your astral field, when it goes to leave, it's kind of burdened with how you ate. Your body's burdened, so it makes it a little harder for your astral body to leave. And so what can happen is it's almost like you're in a fractal world. You're having bits of this and that. You might see a bulldozer, a kitten driving a bulldozer. You might see somebody walking on water. You might be in a house that has no doors or windows. So it's nothing that makes sense. And so I kind of call it fractal. So often those, and they can be very two-dimensional, almost flat, like a drawing on a piece of paper. So I always talk about that because that's where you're really detoxing. You just ate all that food, you just drank all that drink, and it's just like your body's trying to detox, and the detoxing is influencing your dream world. And so often, I kind of recommend that maybe you don't eat after 7:00 at night. And I'm not great at that sometimes. If I like to have popcorn late in the evening, but I try to do that. My dreams are much more vivid and clear. So, subconscious is trying to resolve traumas, hidden desires, dreams, symbols, narratives, abstract visions, to help you process unresolved thoughts and emotions by using symbolic language. So, you may see stars and things floating around, or you may see, screwdrivers and hammers and wrenches floating in the air in your dream. And you're like, what is this? And we can often, there are some of you that believe that dreams are super real. Everything about the dream is super real. And there's many of you, it's just like, oh, my mind is just trying to create nice, neat file cabinets. Lucid dreaming and conscious exploration. So a lucid dream, and I would like to think that everybody's had at least one lucid dream in their life. But a lucid dream is where you're in the dream. You know you're in the dream, and you can make choices in the dream. You can make decisions in the dream. You can choose to get in the car or not get in the car. So last night in a lucid dream, I'm in a boat. We're trying to pack up the boat with the suitcases and the two dogs. And I'm knowing that the wind is going to come up and it's going to make it challenging for us to get back to our destination. So I'm making conscious choices about how I'm going to move through my dream. So that's a lucid dream. Or a lucid dream is where maybe something's frightening you and you turn around, you point your finger and say, hey, back off, where you can take charge in your dream. So that's a lucid dream where you can control your environment. And a lucid dream is considered a higher level of dreaming, or what I call fractal dreams. It's a higher level, and it starts to show that you're beginning to work in different dimensions. Because your consciousness is able to navigate even subconscious thoughts, accessing other realities. So you have your astral field, and then you can go into other realities. And each reality can be very, very real. Now, often working with people and their dreams, now I'm not a big dream interpreter, but I can use my psychic ability to tune in, and I can watch the dream that you're telling me about. And then sometimes I can get some additional insight. And you can do the same thing. You can close your eyes and then kind of pretend it's a VHS tape or a DVD, and that you're going to hit the rewind button, and then you're going to let yourself experience the dream again, even the parts you can't remember, and might get more information. But what I've noticed is most people will travel to the same place over and over and over again. You're working things out, you're practicing things. And so you'll go to the same place. So like, for example, I'm always, for over 20 years, my dreams were chaotic, or there were thousands of people around. And majority of my dreams were feeding the poor. And it almost felt like I was like in India, because everybody seemed to have these cotton cloths on. And I was going around with a bowl, and I would, pick up the food and just put it in people's mouths. So I was feeding people. So I interpreted that as spiritually feeding people, that's kind of how I was working it out on the spiritual plane. But I really wanted two things. I wanted to walk in the deep forest with animals around. I really wanted to do that in my dreams, because in the dream, you don't always experience the same fears. Like, I probably wouldn't want to be alone in the woods by myself in reality. Or swim with dolphins and whales, right? Swim under the water. So those are the two things I always want. So I kept asking for those. I'd love to go to the forest. I'd love to go to the water. It just never happened. Every single time I could remember my dreams, which were few and far between, I was always around thousands of people. And there was this movement that was happening, a spiritual movement, which is not unusual with the type of work that I do, or calling that I have. So accessing other realities, some traditions suggest dreams allow you to access parallel realities and dimensions to get glimpses of other lives, past or future, or symbolic experiences from higher planes. This idea resonates with people who feel dreams provide them insights beyond the individual self. This is what I'm noticing is happening right now as we expand into higher dimensional states of consciousness and of light, is that it's almost like prophets are being born. We're having prophetic dreams. So, and a prophetic dream does not mean, that it can be that Christ comes back to the earth, or a prophetic dream is aliens, landing in a spaceship. My son had a prophetic dream when he was playing football in high school. And in the prophetic dream, he got the quarterback had the call numbers. So I don't know a lot about football, but apparently, it's like 3, 11, 12, whatever hike. Well, my son said when he was in the huddle with the quarterback, he had remembered the call from his dream, and the quarterback called those same exact numbers. And I think that I've read stories where people had dreams about winning the lottery, and they got the numbers and immediately got up that day and went and bought, and they won the lottery. So you can have prophetic dreams that way. You can have prophetic dreams that maybe somebody's going to have a baby, or maybe somebody's having an affair, or maybe the company's going to go bankrupt, or maybe you're going to get a new job. There can be lots of ways. It's like, oh, I knew that. I saw that. But it was just a dream, and then it turns out to be real. So those are dreams that go beyond the individual self to the higher planes. So the astral plane is an intermediate kind of realm between the physical world and higher spiritual development. Now, you can have an astral plane that's where spirit animals hang out, and you can visit that astral plane in your astral body. You can have astral planes that's just pure nature. You can have astral planes that are the angelic realm, astral planes where great philosophers hang out, astral planes where the Akashic records are, astral planes that are on other planets. And so that's the thing about the astral plane. But also you can have the lower astral planes that can have creatures that don't look natural to what we're used to. Like you might see little trolls, or you might see talking bulls with horns. It's going to be a little heavier. It's going to be a little denser. They can communicate. They can look quite frightening. And so, yeah, you can be on those astral planes as well. And your astral body might visit those places. And so, what did I write down here? Many describe experiences as a journey through the astral plane where they encounter beings, energies, and environments beyond normal perception. I have visited a place that was a world that was just pure gold. It was just enormous castles. Everybody was gold. Everybody had gold light. The streets were gold. Everything was gold. That's definitely in a very high astral plane. The vibrational nature of the astral plane is said to be a vibrational realm where thoughts and emotions influence your environment. So your energy, your own energy, where your vibrational frequency is, can really influence where you go on the astral plane and what type of entities, spiritual beings you're going to encounter. You already heard me talk about some of those lower realms. And people do talk about the darkness, or they'll talk about getting triggered and having nightmares triggered, and they don't know how to get out of it. And so in those situations, you do want to get help from an expert who, well, they don't even have to be an expert, just an energy healer to help clear out any debris that is causing you to stay caught on some of those lower astral planes. So this concept suggests that those exploring the astral plane can cultivate positive energy, emotional balance, so that you can have more positive experiences. But I also want to be clear, you're not doing anything wrong. If you are having nightmares or you're attracting some heavier, denser astral planes. So I remember growing up and, I had my mother who was a single parent. There were 4 kids. I was the oldest. We had food scarcity. We had, she would work several jobs trying to pay the light bill and things like that, and we lived in places that we could afford, which maybe weren't always the lightest or the brightest. And so sometimes, when I would remember dreams back then, or my siblings would talk about their dreams, it could be very impacted by the environment that they were in. Like seeing ghosts and seeing spirits and things like that could come close to, that veil, come a little too close for our comfort level. And so it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, but it's just the environments that you are in. And I've talked a lot about grounding the building that you're in, bringing through the cosmic light of gold to rinse through and remind the space that you're in. I have a right to grow and thrive in this space. And so that can wash out some heavy debris in the space that you live in, so you don't carry that over into the astral world. Let's see what I want to say. Multidimensional levels of existence. So this is what we're experiencing right now. I cannot believe it was only a year ago that we were talking about that we're moving from the 3D realm to the 5D realm. And what's crazy about that is I don't hear a lot of people talk about that anymore, because in many cases, we've already surpassed the 5th dimension. We're going into the 6th, the 7th. Some are going into the 12th. Some are going into the 36th level of dimensions, because we are becoming aware and conscious that we are multidimensional beings, meaning that your spirit is beginning to grow into your ability to communicate in several dimensions. So let's say that you pray to Archangel Michael. It's like, Archangel Michael, could you, come and protect me, or come stand by me to help me feel not so afraid. You've literally just communicated to the angelic realm. Angelic realm heard and responded. So that's a simple form of you accessing multidimensional realms to communicate with other beings. So earthly reality is often described as in the 3rd dimension. We have our 4th dimension, which is the bridge. We have our 5th dimension. We're becoming more aware of our consciousness. 5th dimension is unity consciousness. And when we start to think outside of ourselves and we start to think about our global community, you can pretty much bet on the fact that you tend to naturally live in the 5D world now. You can have access to that world. If it's like, no, I just can't, I've got so much to think about my own life, I can't think about what's happening to anybody else, you're definitely going to be in that 3rd, maybe 4th dimensional world. So the 5th dimension, frequently discussed spiritual context, is the realm of unity where separation dissolves and conscious experiences are more of the collective. So recently we had some big events that happened in the United States. There's big events happening all over the world, but there was this like a tsunami of fear. Now it's a collective fear. So that means that you're still kind of interconnected, even though you may not feel fearful on the inside. Maybe you feel happy, maybe you're hopeful, you're excited, but you're still impacted by the collective. That's kind of what's happening more often than not. This level is associated with unconditional love, higher intuition, and a sense of oneness. The 6th dimension is said to increase complexity of interconnectedness. So in my last live talk, I was talking about that we made this giant time-space leap, quantum leap. And I'm trying to describe this as we've just, like a rubber band goes back and you let go of it and you just go flying into this other frequency, quantum leap in consciousness and understanding, but it doesn't mean you get it yet. Where it feels like life is happening really rapidly, and yet at the same time you're going slow. Like spirit will show me, like you're going to pass a car, but it looks like the car is going backwards. That kind of messes with your head. This is kind of what's happening. But in the sixth dimension, you can understand time, space complexities, and interconnectedness a lot easier. So we're getting there. And if you're starting to understand those quantum leaps, quantum light codes, sacred geometry, like if that's really, that penny's starting to drop and you're really getting it, that means that you are quite tapped into the sixth dimension and beyond. And there is this higher dimension, even up to 12 and beyond, pure states of consciousness, light, and divine essence. Now, and this is all connected to the dream world, because maybe it used to be you could only experience that in the dream world, but now it's shifting down into our kind of human earthly reality. That's what's kind of messing with us a little bit, because it's like, how can I feel like I'm floating when my feet are on the ground? Or how can I hear something talking even though I'm the only one here? Like you start to have access because the veil is getting thinner and those frequencies, dimensions are moving down. Parallel realities and quantum consciousness. Some multidimensional frameworks draw from quantum physics. And we are, like I'm teaching right now about light codes, which are multidimensional expressions of light. And they do float around on all kinds of dimensions. But we couldn't quite understand them. It's like, okay, I'm walking next to an elephant, or it's starting to snow in the middle of the Sahara Desert in my dream. So you can have those light code experiences, but what's happening now is it's coming down to the earth. Your consciousness is starting to get comfortable with it. All right. How about guides and extraterrestrial beings? So in the dream world, let's say that your partner passed, or maybe you got a divorce and it's 5 years later, and you think, I think I'm ready to start dating again. And what can happen when you start to have those thoughts is that in the dream world, you're going to act out dating. So you might see, a woman or a man in your dream and you're kissing them, but it's like, you don't know who they are. You've never seen them. Why am I kissing them? And then later on, you're going to meet them. So often in the astral world, your astral body helps you practice. Like maybe you want a promotion, but you don't feel like you're a good enough leader. You're going to practice being a leader on the astral plane. And once you practice it enough, it's like, okay, I'm ready to bring this blueprint down to the physical level, to my human level. So parallel realities, quantum consciousness, it draws information from quantum physics. And this is where we're going. As a matter of fact, Spirit is telling me right now that we're going to need to get comfortable with communicating in that quantum field, with the quantum field, getting light code symbols and interpreting them. It's going to help our communication with the multidimensional realms much easier if we practice now. And many of the people in my Blue Light Awakening series, they're learning that. It's like trying to learn a new language. It's not easy at first. Um, and then meeting guides, you can hang out with spirit guides. You can hang out with Albert Einstein. Maybe you're hanging out with star beings, extraterrestrial beings from another planet, like, that have different shapes and sizes. So sometimes you're starting to see them in those different dimensions of the dream world. From when I'm listening to a lot of experts, and I went to this conference, Phenomicon, my third year, they had the top governmental experts saying that they already exist and that we will begin to start seeing them. So they may start showing themselves in the dream world to let our mind start to kind of integrate this potential possibility. So I love this. Many believe that developing awareness in the different planes will help you to dissolve the illusions of separation, awakening your cosmic consciousness. As you become aware of your multi-dimensions, even in the dream world, it begins to shift your perspective. I remember I had this dream, and I would say it was about 10 years ago. And I was standing on the beach, and it was as if I could look as far as the eye could see to the left, as far as I could see to the right. And people were just standing, they had their arms are down. They're just staring blankly straight ahead. They're not moving at all. They're not walking. They're not doing anything. And I remember I was going up the hill, and I could see an enormous tsunami wave of water coming. And I'm screaming at all these people just standing, almost like they're sleepwalking. And I'm screaming and screaming, run, run, come with me, come to the hill. This hill's going to come to the top. We've got to get to higher ground. There's a tsunami coming. And they just were not moving. So I ran down to the beach, and I'm trying to pull them, and they're kind of like tripping over their feet because they're not consciously aware of their feet. And it was just, I just couldn't get them to move. I was so distressed. I was crying. I was upset because so many people were going to not survive this wall of water. And then I heard this voice say, Nancy, you need to get to higher ground. And when they see you up there, then they can make the choice to follow and go up the hill. So it was like if I was staying down on the ground, they couldn't see that potential. And I've never forgotten that dream 10 years later, that sometimes I need to just go ahead and walk my path, and the others will catch up when they're ready. So it's quite similar to feeding people food, So I always have these kind of spiritual dreams, and I have a lot that have to do with water. So healing and transformation, I just gave you that. Dimensions can aid in healing both psychologically and energetically and even physically. So manifestation, co-creation, I've just made a talk not that long ago about that, where again, I was saying you're going to practice it at those higher dimensions so that you can bring it and manifest it into reality here. So in summary, as I polished this up, I just looked at the clock and it said 33:33. In summary, the dream world, the astral plane, multidimensional levels just provide different avenues of exploration beyond your own typical reality. So why are we having more now than we ever have before? Because we are in such a rapid, expansive, I don't even know what the word is. It's like paradigm shifting experience right now. We cannot possibly process it all from the human level. So what I'm noticing is we're processing a lot of it in the dream world. And so we're processing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, constantly on one dimension, as well as multiple dimensions at the same time. So for those who are open to these experiences, you might find that you're going through this personal transformation through your dream state. So I invite you to think about that concept. Is it real? Are dreams real? Did you really travel and just go talk to Gandhi? Or did you really just travel and meet your unborn child? Or did you really just travel and got to swim with dolphins and whales? Or did you just travel and you had a monster chasing you and you turned around and told him to back off and you stood your ground and you learned how to speak up for yourself? So I would love for you all to share at least one of at least one significant dream you had that really impacted your reality, day-to-day 3D reality life, and what part about it was it that helped you to awaken to yourself in a different way? Anyway, enjoy. I'm loving my dreams, and yeah, I'd love to hear from you if you're finding that the quality of your dreams are changing as well. Anyway, thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you on the next video.